Hello, my name is Carl Niji, and I am what's known as a Davis facilitator. I am the owner-operator of a business called Overcoming Dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, and Learning Disabilities in Ottawa, Canada. So today we're going to discuss the first of the elephant in the room questions. This is video number 1 of that series. So the first elephant in the room really showed up for me when I was probably around 30, and it was really the big one. It had shown up a lot earlier, but I could begin to articulate it in my 30s. And in my 30s and late 20s, I would always ask anybody that was helping me 3 or 4 basic questions. And the first question I would ask them was, is what we're doing, is it phonics? Is it repetitive drill? By age sort of 30, I had given up on phonics. I realized it was not working for me, whatever body said, it was not getting me across the finishing line. At best, it had been about 50, maybe 60% successful, but it certainly wasn't getting me to read at adult grade level. So if someone was trying to push phonics on me, or repetitive drill, I was just, yeah, no thanks, but no thanks. So that was the first hurdle that somebody had to get over. The next question I used to ask people was, are you yourself dyslexic, ADD, ADHD, do you have any of these so-called learning disabilities? Because what you're recommending to help me with my dyslexia, I'd like to know if you've tried it for yourself and has it worked for you personally as somebody who has one of these conditions. If they said yes, then I would ask them several other questions. But if they said no, then again, yeah, I was done. That was it. Thank you. But usually I would ask them this last question, and this is the elephant in the room question. What is causing my dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, dysgraphia, dyspraxia, dysphasia, auditory processing disorder? What is it? What is causing that problem in my life? That actually is a double banger of a question, and it's the first elephant that comes along. And some people will answer it and then skirt off in a direction. Other people will avoid it completely. There's another question hidden in that question though. And the second elephant of this pair that are waltzing around the room is the thing that's causing my dyslexia, is that the same thing that's causing my ADHD and my dysgraphia and my dyscalculia? Are they all the same thing? Dyslexia, ADD, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, etc., etc., etc. Are they all caused by the same thing? Do they have a common link that causes the same thing? Or are they different things? And if they couldn't answer that question, if they couldn't answer those 2 questions, then I was pretty much done, because I was looking for somebody that could answer that pink elephant in the room. And this is actually the big one. It's such a big elephant, actually, if you'll excuse me. It is actually bright pink, it's wearing a tutu, it's tap dancing, it's wearing top hat and tails, and it's singing "I've Got a Lovely Bunch of Coconuts." That's how obvious it is when you answer that, when you ask that question. When the penny drops on that one, you start going, oh, hang on a minute, they're avoiding this question. Now, the classical answer that always comes back for me, and probably for you, is, well, it's a disorder of the brain. Okay, well, what do you mean by that? So what will happen if you have that conversation is that you'll go off on terminology about your brain, about how the brain works, about how brain cell works, about how your brain isn't making the connections that other people do. And you'll say, okay, so that's a disorder of my brain. But if I've got a disorder of the brain here, what's below it that's causing this disorder? If this is the disorder, what's causing it? And if you push hard enough on that question, you'll get, we don't know. The answer that you actually get back on a long enough timeline is, we don't know whether dyslexia is difference or damage. The old model from psychiatry and psychology and medicine and education that's actually more like 100+ years old is its damage. The newer model, when we go to modern neurology and say, what's causing this problem, they'll say, well, it's just difference. We don't really know what that difference is. And a buzzword that's beginning to come up is neurological diversity, which is just a nice way of reminding us about Darwin and saying, well, there's lots of different people in the world and they have all different types of brains and it's just diverse. There's what we call neurologically atypical, and that's what the school system wants. And then there's the opposite of that. That term has actually been really embraced by people who are on the autism spectrum. That's where I sort of heard it the most. But I also heard it about probably about 10 years ago or maybe more. It began to sort of pop up. It may actually end up replacing the umbrella term of a learning disability. It might in the future. But still, even when you're having this conversation, what happens is you'll go round and round and round this question and never actually get the question answered. What is at root cause? What's causing any one of these 70 different types of learning disabilities that are in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health? What is it? What's causing that? And the honest answer from neurologists is, well, we don't know. It just looks like diversity, and we don't know why it is. Now, when I asked my Davis facilitator those questions, I got very different answers. And the first elephant got reduced and dispelled, because when I asked my facilitator what is at the root cause of my dyslexia, she said all of the symptoms of dyslexia are actually the symptoms of somebody who has become disoriented. And when you're disoriented, your brain doesn't get what your eyes see. You get what you think your eyes see. This is why you're misreading words on the page. This is why the letters are moving. This is why they go fuzzy. This is why when you see a 3, you say 5. Your brain isn't getting what your eyes are seeing as your eyes are seeing it. Your brain is getting what you think your eyes are seeing. Your brain also doesn't get what your ears hear as your ears are hearing it. So this is why you mishear information and you can't pronounce words. So you have an auditory processing difficulty. Your balance and movement sense is off. And this means that you have difficulty you're uncoordinated. You can't remember left from right, and you have what we call dyspraxia. Also, your internal sense of time either speeds up or slows down. And when it speeds up, we get labels of hyperactivity. And when it slows down, we get labels of developmental delay. Now, if you want to understand this pink elephant and get a complete answer on the disorientation, and that all of the symptoms of dyslexia are actually the symptoms of someone who has become disoriented, you can go and watch the video number 4 on my YouTube channel. If you are curious as to whether, in that video, it's video number 4, and it's entitled All the Symptoms of Dyslexia Are Actually the Symptoms of Someone Who's Become Disoriented. If you are curious as to whether dyslexia is caused by the same thing as dysgraphia and ADD and ADHD, if you're unsure about the terminology and whether a Davis program can help you, and maybe you've been told that you're ADD and you don't think you're dyslexic, then you can go and watch video number 5, which the title of that video is it Dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, and Confusion Over Terminology? If you are dyslexic yourself or ADD yourself, you need to, or if you're a parent trying to help someone with what we call a learning disability, you need to be able to answer this first question, because it is the linchpin that everything else revolves around. If I do not know what is at the root cause of my problem, then I actually cannot know whether the help that I'm recommending is effective. I'm effectively trying to measure this person against somebody who doesn't have the problem, and it's a false measurement. And that is a different pink elephant that shows up, how we measure the dyslexia against other people, or the ADD or the ADHD. So this first pink elephant in the room is quite a big one. it's a real whammy. And if you can't answer it fully and completely, and you can't sequentially explain very simple step by step through the problem and give a solution to that problem, then you actually are not really helping that person. You're only giving them a partial help. And in my case, I think the help that we do recommend, I think only helps probably about 50 to 60% of the time. It fails most people who are dyslexic, ADD, ADHD, people with learning disabilities. It generally fails them more than it helps them. So I do hope this has been helpful. We need to really identify and understand this first elephant. What is at root cause? And if somebody cannot answer that question, or they come back with, it's just a disorder of your brain, that is not a full, complete answer, and they basically don't know what the answer is. In order to actually understand a subject, you need to be able to answer the question, what, when, how, and why. If you can't answer that question, those four questions, then you actually have a partial answer, not a complete answer. When we look at the Davis material and we look at Ron Davis, who he is and what he is as a person, he is saying, I am somebody who was dyslexic and autistic, and this is what I have discovered about my dyslexia or my learning disability and my autism. And if you would like some help, you can try these very simple things. They're non-invasive, they're very kind, they're very gentle, and you will get your pink elephants answered. And then you can actually make friend with the elephant, and it won't go trampling all over your life. So that's it for now. That's the first pink elephant. We will address the second pink elephant in the next video, so please stay tuned for that. If you would like to find the nearest Davis facilitator to you, then you need to go to the link below. You'll see it as Davis International or the DDAI. Follow the link there and you'll be able to find the nearest Davis facilitator to you, whichever country you're in. If you're in Ottawa, Canada, and you'd like to continue this conversation with me, please feel free to get in contact with me. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe because it does help the algorithms, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.